It appears that WWE has some very interesting stuff happening with the Royal Rumble this year, and as you guys know, I've been following the latest on that. Also, we got some huge AEW news, so as always, timestamps in the description down below. I want to kick things off in this video talking about Trent Seven. I've been getting a lot of questions on Trent Seven and what is his situation with AEW, because now we've seen him on Rampage and we're seeing him on the AEW product. Obviously, he's not really built into like some crazy storylines in the company, but he's being used in the company after being released by the WWE. Well, the good news is, if you're a fan of Trent Seven, you'll see him more on AEW content, because it appears that Tony Khan has signed Trent Seven, but it is a per appearance deal. So it doesn't look like Trent Seven has been added to AEW on a long-term contract, nor does it look like he'll be adding the full-time roster, but AEW is definitely utilizing his services going forward, and I think it's a good thing. You know, it's good to bring in veterans. Hopefully this is somebody, while he's, you know, there on a per appearance deal, hopefully this is somebody that people can kind of go to and learn from. Trent Seven was released by WWE after WWE NXT UK closed down. My best belief was that he would be brought back to WWE when NXT Europe launches. However, there is no update on that. And it looks like WWE's been pretty quiet about NXT Europe and what might transpire from that. So nonetheless, Trent Seven's in AEW per appearance deal. I don't know if it's going to lead to anything big for the guy, but obviously with Ring of Honor and so much being done these days, it is definitely something to pay attention to. With that being said, I want to turn our attention to Dynamite and Rampage. By now, you've probably heard some of the rumors. You've probably heard some of the news. Obviously, Raj Giri, the guy who used to own Wrestling Inc., he dropped some very interesting stuff on Twitter about AEW, Dynamite, and Rampage undergoing some major changes to the overall presentation of the product. Now, from people I have specifically spoken to, I have heard that there are a lot of big changes coming to the presentation. However, this is nothing really crazy or something to like be concerned with. From my understanding and from what I'm seeing out there, it's just basically pro wrestling, UFC, MMA, Bellator, ONE FC. A lot of these companies have some really good presentation, and this is just another scenario in which AEW is expected to elevate its overall presentation. And I'm assuming at this point, this is going to be a situation where AEW is definitely going to become a little bit more vibrant. I do expect them to have a less grungy look. I think we are going to see them in a higher quality presentation, and I think that actually makes sense when you look at AEW, because when you look visually compared to WWE, while it definitely has a different look that I actually like, by the way, it does look a little bit lesser quality than WWE. Or if you were looking at NBA on TNT, if you were looking at UFC on ESPN, like a lot of these things that you're watching are very colorful, vibrant. It catches the eye, and I think this could be the direction that they want them to go. With that being said, the good news is, let's just say, for example, AEW does go this route. The good news is, it doesn't mean it's going to be considered overproduced. I don't expect them to pull off the Kevin Dunn million camera cuts that get extremely annoying. I just think we might see a little bit more color. I think we might see a little bit of a nicer presentation, a little bit of a cleaner presentation that makes them stand out, especially, on Wednesday nights and Friday nights, when there's live sports. I think TNT, Warner Media, TBS, Discovery, I think they want this to feel like a much bigger deal than it is. And that is one of the cons to having a grungy look. Sometimes it doesn't feel as major. So, we'll see. We'll see what kind of changes are done there, but it is definitely going to be very interesting. Now I want to turn our attention, guys, to our final story of the day, WWE Royal Rumble. As you guys know, I've been talking about this for a really long time. WWE Forbidden Door Royal Rumble surprises. A lot of people don't think this is happening. And then sure enough, more information comes out there. People do forget to understand that Vince McMahon was also going to do Forbidden Door entrance for the men's match last year. And then obviously they decided not to. This year, it looks like Triple H and WWE are looking at doing Forbidden Door people in WWE. So I'll talk about the women's roster, and then I'll talk about the men's roster because these two are definitely interesting names. So first and foremost, for those who may not be well-rounded with New Japan Pro Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling recently introduced a women's championship belt, which is now being held by Kairi Sane. And there is this belief that she could very well be coming to WWE as the Royal Rumble surprise entrant. Obviously, Meltzer was talking about this Wrestling Observer newsletter. It mentioned the possibility of Kairi Sane coming to WWE and being in the Royal Rumble match. And this essentially is a very interesting story because now she holds the championship belt. Is this something that WWE would still end up doing? Now, Kairi Sane is somebody that's been rumored for a while, so this is not relatively new. However, something that's been rumored for a little bit on the internet, and honestly, it's really hard to say the real, what's the real accuracy here. I don't know what the truth actually is here, but a name that keeps getting brought up is Minoru Suzuki possibly being a Royal Rumble entrant. And when I saw this rumor and I started to see that it caught steam, it would make sense that WWE would better utilize a New Japan talent versus somebody from like AEW or Impact. WWE and New Japan, it's not necessarily this foreign idea of them teaming up at some point. So, if Kairi Sane were to come to WWE's Royal Rumble, it makes sense. Obviously, she was a former WWE superstar. And then I just think there's a lot of intrigue of Minoru Suzuki competing in a Royal Rumble match. My biggest thing that I absolutely don't like about today's news when it comes to Royal Rumble surprises and the Forbidden Door is that when you're doing the Forbidden Door, in a Royal Rumble match, you pretty much know with 100,000% certainty that there is no chance that that person is winning. And that's kind of the downfall with surprises in general. If I've watched Royal Rumbles in the past and you get these surprise entrants that, it's like a cool little pop or whatever, you just know that they're not going to win. And I think sometimes that sucks. And I think it would be really, really cool if Triple H and the company could actually have a surprise entrant that actually wins the Royal Rumble. I think that would be a very, very big W for WWE. Now, nonetheless, with Minoru Suzuki, Kairi Sane being rumored, I know there's some talks about Impact talent being rumored. My question to you guys is, who do you want to see in the Royal Rumble that's a Forbidden Door entrant? I think there's nothing wrong with Kairi Sane and Minoru Suzuki. I think those are great. But again, there's nothing concrete about this. These things are just rumors, and it's really important to mention that. But I think if you're going to look at Impact Wrestling, I think there's quite a few talent on there that would be great. Plus, there's rumors that Matt Cardona is coming back to WWE, which it feels like it's a sure thing at this point. So, that could be a really good one. But while that's a surprise, that's still not a Forbidden Door surprise. So who do you guys think could be in the Royal Rumble? I want to know what you think in the comment section down below. I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.